This in my hand is the Sony Z4. Well, at least that's what it's known as in Japan. However, in India and many other countries, it's now called the Z3 Plus. I think it's because Sony realized that it's an incremental update of the Z3 that was launched many months back and decided to add just the Plus. So always good to start with some honesty, and taking that honesty game forward, let me say that expectations from this phone have been huge. It's been a long time since we've seen a flagship phone from Sony. They didn't even come up with one at the Mobile World Congress. A rumor started that Sony was getting out of the smartphone business. The rumor was taken care of right here on this very show. Sony is very much in the smartphone business, and this phone is the proof. Still, it's got big shoes to fill, huge competition. Let's start off on this journey. The design of the phone is in sync with the Z3. However, it is lighter and thinner. Yes, it weighs about 144 grams. It's very thin at 6.9 millimeters. It's very comfortable to hold in the hand, and the glass back, as always, is good, but this time it's much less slippery than the predecessor. Sony's always had some really good-looking phones in the market, and the Z3 Plus takes that legacy forward. Now, the biggest change in design is that this phone now has a very easily accessible micro USB port, but still retains the fact that it is fully water and dust proof, which means you're not fiddling around with a rubber sealed flap every time you want to charge the phone, put in a microphone or a headphone or any of these things. You don't have to do any of that. That's a big nightmare. I mean, can you imagine? Monsoons right now, you're out there on torrential rain, you think you've got a waterproof phone, you're talking away, suddenly the phone starts and comes to a sizzling death, all because you forgot to close one rubber flap. But let's test it out. So the phone's on. I have a water tank here. I'm going to dunk it right in. Okay, there's a big splash. Let's see, how's the phone doing? There it is. So obviously, I mean, I can leave it inside for a much longer time. The rating is good enough for you to even go swimming with the phone if that's the kind of thing you do. But it seems to be doing just fine. Coming to the screen of the Z3 Plus, it's a 5.2-inch LCD display at 1920 by 1080 resolution. Like the HTC One M9, Sony hasn't made the leap to QHD. However, with a 424 ppi, it is very sharp. And it's Sony. Well, that's how the ad goes, but the display, as always with all Sony ones, is awesome. I do wish, though, they could have shifted to a Quad HD display. It's the need of the hour. Almost all other flagships have it. Now, the colorful screen works pretty well with the custom Sony interface, which sits on top of Android 5.0. Very simple, very clean UI. Sony Z3 Plus has the Snapdragon CPU with 3 GB RAM. That's good. Performance is not an issue on the phone at all. Games work well, apps download fast, multitasking is a snap, and browsing is an absolute breeze. Z3 Plus comes with a 32 GB internal memory, and there's a micro SD card for expansion. Now, one major drawback with the phone is that even as I'm holding it in my hand right now, and I've been using it for a while, it's starting to feel a little warm now. I truly hope that this is because of this review unit that has a problem. Else, I may just have to go and dunk it in the water again, you know, to cool it down. Okay, I'm just kidding. But yes, it is a little warm in the hand right away. The optics are excellent. It features the same 20.7 megapixel sensor as seen on its predecessor, and the same 4K video recording capability is still there. Now it comes with 25mm wide-angle Sony G lens with Bions, a mobile processing engine with very superior auto capabilities. What it means is that it can now recognize up to 52 different scenarios and adapt the camera settings automatically to that very scene. And one of those is gourmet food. Basically, it means that food shots that you take will come out that much more delicious. So all you Instagrammers out there who can't eat food without taking 970 shots of the meal before, you should be thrilled. And just how good it is, I'm going to actually try and show you. Here's some gourmet food. I showed it to you in the beginning. Of course, only my Cell Guru producer would think donuts is gourmet food. But now time to click it and try how it works. Okay, so let's go to camera. Let me set it to gourmet. So that's one of the settings. Now, here I'm going to try and do 3 or 4 shots just to see how rich and vibrant it comes out. Are we ready? Okay, one of the whole plate. Okay, let's go a little to an angle. Now into the food so that it looks like thousands of them are there. And maybe one, which is a close-up of all of them. So I've taken 3 or 4 shots. On the phone, these donuts looked far better than they actually look in real life. So therefore, the gourmet food shot does work. But of course, you be the judge of it. I'm showing you the pictures. Coming to the battery, well, here is where Sony compromised a bit to shed the weight from 3100 mAh. On the Z3, it's come down now to 2930 mAh. That is never a good thing. But the battery life is still pretty good. That means power management has come into play here.